Some more about the great Bret Baier interview. We have Senator Tommy Tuberville from the great state of Alabama. Senator Tuberville, sir, as always, welcome. I just want to, we're going to play a couple quick clips for you, but I assume you saw it or saw part of this interview. One of the most disturbing parts, I think, to me is that she lost her cool. There was a temperament thing that you always look for in presidential candidates, no matter how hot it may be in the kitchen, you're supposed to keep your cool. And I think she lost her cool. I think she blew up, basically, at Bret Baier last night. I don't know if you see it the same way or, you've been around these things for a long time or you have a different take.
No, I totally agree with you, Larry. She came across last night as like a crazy ex-girlfriend. And the only thing that we learned was how absolutely obsessed she was with Donald Trump. There was no policies. I listened to everything she said about immigration. Now, I've been going through all this for 4 years in the Senate and listened to all these lies and things that they supposedly have done. There wasn't one true thing she said about immigration, and I think she's just totally out of touch, and she tries to listen to everybody on her side about, hey, listen, try to switch everything back to Donald Trump, don't say anything, blame him. Played the blame game again, it's not going to work.
Yeah, here comes a clip. This is early in the interview regarding the number of illegal migrants released into the U.S. Roll some tape. Take a listen, please, sir.
How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is bad.
Yeah, but
right
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Bret, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
It's a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
So that's a very odd, just wouldn't deal. I mean, Bret's asking it 6 different ways. She doesn't want to deal with it at all. And I want to just read you. This is a quote from Alejandra Mayorkas, all right, obviously Homeland Security Secretary. March 1st, 2021, Senator, March 1st, 2021. So they're just barely in office. Quote, we are dedicated to achieving and, quite frankly, working around the clock to replace the cruelty of the past administration, with a orderly, humane, and safe immigration process, end quote. Then that was right at the time that they canceled all 94 executive orders that former President Trump had issued. Now, those are factoids. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not making the quote up, and I'm not making up the cancellation of 94 executive orders. And at least 10 million illegals have come across the line, probably more than that. So she has to, it seems to me, no matter how vitriolic she is against Mr. Trump, she still has to deal with these facts that are seemingly so unpopular in this election, Senator.
Well, she's not gone by any facts, Larry, ever since she's been running for this office for, 60, 65 days. They've told her, don't give any numbers out. Don't talk about any numbers. Just flip everything back to Donald Trump about how all these problems were happening before they took office. They created these problems. I went to the border in March of 2021, right after they took over, and Ted Cruz and myself, along with Mike Lee, we went down and we looked at these cages that they had all these kids in that were just absolutely stacked up like cordwood. They care nothing about these kids. Mayorkas, Kamala Harris, and Joe Biden have lied to the American people, Larry, for the last 3.5 years. It has been an absolute disgrace, and it is going back to what you talked about in the previous segment about this Hamas leader being killed. We should be in DEFCON 1 because they have let people in this country that are terrorists the last 3.5 years, and American people are in trouble because of this.
Yeah. Let me play. Here's some more about reversing Trump border policies, Senator Tuberville. Just take a listen, please.
When you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
The first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called
And-
the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship. You had the
please?
White House and the House and the Senate,
I'm
and
in
they
the
didn't
middle
bring up
of
that bill.
See, this one baffles me because the bill that she's talking about, as Brett Baer explained, but she, I guess listened or didn't want to listen, or maybe she already knew, that wasn't a bill to close the border. That was a bill to open the border and expand citizenship roles. And even her own party, which had 3 houses at that point, was not in favor of it. I mean, that's just, I don't know, untruthful, cognitive dissonance. I don't know what the polite phrase is, Senator Tuberville, but she sure wasn't speaking the truth.
No, she lied about that, and I don't think she really knew what was going on when she first went in. I don't think she was too much around the things that were happening, especially what was going on in the Senate, Larry, but there was no bill. You have to remember, it's like Brett Baer said, they had the House and the Senate and the White House. They could have done anything they want, brought it to the floor. We never saw anything like that. The only bill that we've seen is the one that McConnell put together, with Tim Langford, or James Langford, and we voted it down because it was a disaster bill. It would have codified everything that they had done the last 3 years, and we obviously didn't want that. But no, sometimes it sounds like she doesn't know what's going on or what has really happened. She hadn't really studied it, but I'm telling you, there has been nothing done about immigration in the last 4 years that the Biden-Harris administration even thought about stopping or trying to correct.
That bill that she always refers to, which was an election year ploy, it wasn't Trump who killed that bill. There were already a bunch of Republican senators who were against that bill. There were Democratic senators who were against that bill, probably for different reasons. And that bill would have allowed roughly, I'm going to just do this in round numbers, that bill would have allowed roughly 2 million illegals coming in every year in that bill, codified, probably a bigger number because it didn't include people being airlifted in the way they've been doing that. And so over a period of 4 years, that would have been another 8 to 10 million illegals. So what's so great about that bill in the first place?
Well, the one thing that really got me, Larry, just reading it, when I got to the point in the bill that says we will continue to fund sanctuary cities,
yes,
game, set, match for me.
Yeah.
And then almost 1,000 more lawyers that were being sent to the border to be able to enhance the release of immigrants into our country. It had nothing to do with really about stopping anything at the border. It was making it easier for them to come to the country and then funding them once they got here. We're spending billions a month just keeping them in this country.
Yeah, you know, sir, game, set, match on that sanctuary city stuff. Sanctuary cities, they will not be able to return criminals back to the border authorities to send them back home. That's so important. You hit the nail on the head. That's such an important point, which Trump keeps making if folks keep listening. Anyway, Senator Tuberville, we appreciate it, sir, as always.
Thank you.
All right, folks.